So, you can start with some of the basic beliefs, the prayer, declaration of faith, charity, and so forth. You could start with the cultures from which the religion emanates. You could start from the fact that the religion shares, very deep monotheistic roots with Judaism and Christianity, and Muslims very much see themselves as basically those who are sort of completing the monotheistic path, picking up where ancient Judaism and Christianity left off. The Prophet Muhammad adding his interpretation of the monotheistic faith, which fully embraces in many ways many Jewish and Christian ideas and gives an additional twist to them. The Muslim holy book, the Quran, is a book that picks up and reconfigures many stories and bits and pieces of earlier Christian and Jewish holy books. So that could be one place to start. But Islam has its own extremely distinctive history, which involves, in very, very rough terms, a several hundred-year period of phenomenal ascendance and expansion, political, military, as well as spiritual or ideological, a flowering in what Westerners call the medieval period. While Europe was descending into what we call the Dark Ages, the Arab and Islamic world was reaching great heights of achievement, whether you look at it from the point of view of government, military expansion, proselytizing, bringing the faith to vast new populations in India and China, and all the way up North Africa into Europe itself, and then a long period politically and militarily and otherwise of contraction and being pushed back. And the history goes on and on. So in terms of Americans coming to understand the religion, you really, to do it justice, you need to start in all these places. What are the basics of the faith? What is it that its prophet was saying that God's message was? You've got to read a little bit of that. You've got to understand the history over time. You have to understand, as I say, the great flowering of Islamic culture and why it receded and retreated, and what that experience has left Islam with. You have to understand Islam's encounter with 19th and 20th century European colonialism, which is a big shaper of ideas in the Muslim world. And then in the most recent chapter, you have to understand the advent of Islamic fundamentalism, the movement since which really flowered in the 1970s. You saw the roots of it in the 1960s, that brought a reinterpretation of the religion, multiple manifestations of it. You have the Islamic Revolution in Iran, a Shia iteration of it. You have the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and elsewhere, a Sunni version of fundamentalism. And in very recent years, you've seen all of that, sadly, throw off many sparks of violence in many places. And so people have to come to understand that. What's the origin of all of that? I mean, if people want to ask and try to answer that very simplistic question, why do they hate us? Why are there crowds in the streets burning American flags? Why did those guys fly those planes over here? I mean, you've got to understand, you've got to immerse yourself in all of those things to fully appreciate it.